So I, like many parents in London, was looking forward to this week because I was looking forward to some normalcy coming back inside of my life. And I was hoping that Monday and Tuesday, my children would return back to school. And so I was expecting that my 3-year-old son, Damon, and my 4-year-old son, Caden, were going to be back at school. My 16-year-old daughter was going to head back to school. And finally, our lives were going to come back to some type of normalcy. My children were going to be educated. As parents, we could get back to the structure of our lives. But we were told in the last couple of days that all of that was off the table and that our children would not be going back to school. And that sometimes even some of our younger children would be forced to doing online learning when they're barely even understanding the concept of school. And this is something that is a massive shock, and it's something that it's just not acceptable. And unfortunately, we've been conditioned so much since the first lockdown in March to be ready to give up so many of our freedoms and rights and our liberties whenever the government deems it is a time to be lockdown worthy, whether that's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, to 4, which 78% of the country of England is now in, or tier 5, which is what we're looking at now when they're telling us our children can't go to school. What happens in tier 6 and tier 7 and tier 8? What happens then? Are you allowed to leave your homes? Are you allowed to ever not have a mask on? These are some of the questions that you have to ask, because at one point, our government was prioritizing education. You could see that they understood that was a very, very important part of a child's development. These are weeks and months they'll never get back in their lives. That it was important to make sure they had that education, and that it was important to allow our parents to have the structure of their lives to move forward. And now we're seeing that one of those last few human rights being taken away from us. And I'm just concerned when we all go along with it and we just all accept it as natural and normal, because it's not. It's a human right to be able to make decisions like choosing your kids should go to school and get educated. It's a human right to being allowed to do business and to make a living. It's a human right to do so many of these things. And yet they've decided to tell us that we can't do certain things. It always flabbergasts me, because right now I could go down the street and buy enough alcohol to drink myself to death. I could go and to the top of this building and jump off, and I would have the right to kill myself. These are rights that the state has allowed or acknowledged that I should have. But I don't have the choice to make a living, even though it might kill me. I don't have a choice to send my own offspring somewhere. I don't have those freedoms to make those risk-based decisions on my life. And that seems just contrarian to everything that this country stands for. And it's something we should really stand up and question what's going on here. And so please leave me your comments below. Do you think that our children should be denied education right now? Do you think that that's an intelligent choice? Do you think that choice should be taken away from us? And are you concerned? Are you concerned about tier 5, tier 6, tier 7 lockdowns? Again, I've recently posted some incredible data that when you actually look at the data of the number of healthy adults under 60 that have died of COVID in 2020 being the number 388 at time of publication. Yes, that's not thousands, that's 388. When you look at the fact that the NHS is actually not at any higher capacity than it was in 2019, you start to really question the narrative of the mainstream media and the politicians. And then you have to question the thoughts and the choices they're making, because these policies are changing our lives. They're changing our mental health. They're changing the future of our children. And we've got to stand up and say, we're not going to take this anymore. So leave me your thoughts below. I'm curious what you think. My plans are to take London in a new direction. I know we can do it. Science-based decisions, proportional response to the virus, and real leadership. Thank you.